I have notes. I always have notes. Anyone who's ever worked with me knows I always bring notes to a meeting. So hello everyone, if you don't know me, my name is Harper McKenzie. I am a disabled writer and disability activist who just graduated from Emerson College. Yay! So I wanted to make this video here today because I feel very, very happy about the way my Emerson experience turned out. And so I was just thinking about how much I feel like I've learned over the past 4 years and how much I want to pass that on to future Emersonians, even current Emersonians. I'm sort of pitching this video as, tips for incoming freshmen at Emerson, I guess the class of 2025, but even if you're a transfer student or a current Emersonian, even if you're like a rising senior, I still feel like some of these tips could be helpful in thinking about what your college experience looks like, and especially if you're a freshman, how you can be intentional about crafting a great experience at Emerson, because trust me, it's possible to have one, but I do think intentionality is super helpful. That's not one of the tips, but I guess that's sort of the overarching tip. Let's get into it. I could ramble forever. Number 1, make connections before you get to college without getting too attached. So I think it's to be expected that you're going to want to start connecting with the people that you're going to be going to school with. I know that when I was an incoming freshman back in 2017, we had a Facebook group where everyone would introduce themselves and ask questions about, roommates and orientation and all this stuff. And it was super, super helpful to start seeing and connecting with the people who I was going to be spending the next 4 years with. Here's the thing, you're gonna show up in Boston and it's gonna really be challenging if you don't know anybody. Like, yes, orientation and those first few weeks of classes are great opportunities to start meeting people and connecting over shared interests, and you all live on the second floor of LB or whatever it is. But coming in with at least 1 or 2 people that you know is super helpful. It was really nice to find a friend in the Facebook group that was also an incoming freshman in my same major, and the two of us, we did like everything together for our first couple of years, to be honest. But even if it's not a couple of years kind of friendship, having someone that you can just like go to orientation events with and go to that first club meeting with is super, super helpful. But it is also important to remember that, like I said, these might not be year-long friendships. These might just be a transitional friendship that gets you through the first 6-7 weeks of college, and then you start, making other friends through your classes, or, there's just so much growth and transition in college, and we have to remember that people come into our life for a reason and for a season. And these people that you're meeting at the very beginning of your freshman year, or even in the summer before on the Facebook group or on Instagram or wherever, they're important, and you should value those friendships, but understand that they have a purpose, and that purpose isn't always the lifelong friend who's going to be maid of honor at your wedding. But that's okay, because you need someone to go to the dining hall with on a Thursday night, and someone to call when you don't understand how to work the printer. It's just good to have someone in your corner at the very beginning. And speaking of having people in your corner, you might want to think about what support services you are planning on utilizing when you get to Emerson. Now, you might not really have anything that comes to mind when I say that, but if you, like myself, was a disabled incoming freshman that knew she was going to need accommodations and also knew that the housing accommodation deadline was over the summer, you might want to go ahead and email SAS, Student Accessibility Services. Trust me, everyone in the student affairs side of Emerson works through the summer. They are ready and willing to take incoming freshmen and have conversations in June. Orientation, first week of classes, it's a lot. So if you can do anything to get yourself ready before it starts, you will be in a good spot come September. Number 2, learn to love the liberal arts. I completely understand that for a lot of people, we pick Emerson because we want to be filmmakers and writers and journalists or speech pathologists. We have these really intense passions and these goals and these dreams, and we came to Emerson for that state of the industry, technology, courses, all that fun stuff, and we just want to get into it. I remember being so mad my first semester that I couldn't take a creative writing workshop yet. I'm a creative writing major, gosh darn it. But there's some gen ed classes, there's liberal arts classes, there's other stuff you have to do. But here's the thing, I really think you should lean into that because the liberal arts are so important, and especially at Emerson. I had an amazing experience taking all of my liberal arts perspectives and taking even these gen ed classes like speech comm and research writing. It sometimes may feel like these classes are put on your list by the registrar in academic advising just to like annoy you and keep you from that glorious 300 level production class, but I promise you they're there for a reason, and the more you lean into them and the more you learn to appreciate what they're bringing to your education, the happier you'll be, the better you'll do in your classes, and the more fulfilled you'll feel as a student, as a creator, as a person. And the cool thing is, Emerson isn't just offering like biology 101 and like American history through 1800. Like, they have fascinating classes about the politics of water and women warriors in Latin America and the history of jazz and Islamic ways of life. There's so many cool classes and really amazing professors and courses and just topics you can really sink your teeth into and learn about the world. College is a time in which you are supposed to relearn history, re-understand the world, question everything you've ever been taught, and establish your own way of thinking and being. You're not going to be able to do that if you're not taking these liberal arts classes for everything that they're worth and really engaging with the material and engaging with these conversations. And also, these liberal arts classes, they won't just make you a better, more well-rounded person, they'll make you a better artist and filmmaker, journalist. All these things you came to Emerson to do, you'll be better at them for having an understanding of the liberal arts and of the world outside of just your specific field. We're going to be better people, better artists, better creators, better communicators in every sense of the word when you start seeing the way that everything in the world connects. Take lessons of intellectual curiosity and thoughtful exploration from the Marlborough Institute of Liberal Arts and apply it to your life, your studies, your arts, and I guarantee you will be better for it. Number 3, don't rush into orgs. So people are not shy to say that the most Emerson thing you can possibly do is overcommit by joining like 10 orgs your freshman year. I just don't think it's very advantageous to go all or nothing, dive into the deep end your first semester. Y'all, it is so easy to burn yourself out. You really have to work on protecting your time, your energy, your mental health, your physical health. And when you join a lot of orgs very early on and commit yourself to a lot of work, you're putting yourself even more at risk for burnout. There are so many new things to adjust to, whether it's the physical location that you're in, which might be a new city, state, country, time zone for you to be living in. There's new people to meet, you're trying to socialize, interact with people. You have a completely different way of living life now that you're in college, you're away from your family for the first time, you have to do your laundry on your own and check your mail, go to doctor's appointments on your own. You have all these new classes that you're trying to, succeed in, and you're starting to maybe even ask questions about, did I pick the right college, or am I actually in love with my major the way I thought I was going to be? There's just so much going on in the beginning of your college experience. And it is totally okay to need to spend some time on all of that. It's so easy to think that college is short. If you don't just start right away with anything and everything you've ever wanted to do in college, you will miss your chance and you will never get it back. But that's just not true. Yes, college is short, but you do have time. Take it from someone with experience. I spent my first 2 years of college getting my bearings, focusing on the transition, adjusting to life, getting myself comfortable and safe, and feeling ready to thrive. So I didn't join a single org until my junior year, but I graduated as a co-founder and president of an organization with student advocacy and student government experience under my belt. And I guarantee you, I would not have had the very successful, very fruitful final 2 years of college if I hadn't taken time for myself in the first 2 years. Now, if you're sitting here thinking, so I should just sit on the bench my whole freshman year and not do anything and not join any org, I want to do something, I'm gonna be intentional, I'm only gonna join 1 or 2, but what should I start with? Lucky for you, tip number 4 is join cultural organizations as soon as you can. So Emerson has so many orgs, I think there's over 100, maybe even close to 200 at this point, and they all fall into these different categories. There's spiritual life orgs and production orgs, publication orgs, fraternity and sororities, and then we have cultural orgs, which I personally think are the heart and soul of Emerson College. So to put it simply, cultural organizations are student-led organizations based around ideas of cultural identity. Things like race, nationality, ethnicity, religion, gender, sexuality, disability. And I'm gonna be real with y'all here, being a marginalized student in higher education is not easy, and Emerson is no different. I wish I could tell you that our school is free of racism and xenophobia and ableism and transphobia and all these different types of oppression, but even for all the trying, it's not, because the world is not free from it. And so the way that I recommend dealing with the fact that college can be really hard as a marginalized student is intercultural orgs. I have seen time and time again cultural organizations be the home, the solace, the peace for so many people. They provide you a connected community of people who are going through these things with you. They understand your experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, the weird, even just like the neutral stuff. You are not alone, and finding the people who make you feel not alone is so important. And it's also important to have a space where you can share in the joy and commiserate in the pain. Having a community to lean on, to work with, to go through life with, to be in it together with is so vital, especially when you're in a marginalized group. I know that I wish I could have made those connections my freshman year, but I couldn't, because when I got to Emerson, there was no org for disabled students. And honestly, it broke my heart, and it made my first 2 years a lot harder than they had to be. But there is an organization for disabled students now, because I found it within myself to reach out and connect with other people who were experiencing this hole in their college experience. We worked together to found Access Student Disability Union, Emerson's first and only org for disabled students. We founded it on these principles of community that I've been talking about, as well as advocacy. That's the other thing about these organizations. A lot of them do advocacy work. They push for change, and they create a better Emerson just by existing. And trust me, y'all, as a former president of a cultural org, I can tell you that we want you. Cultural orgs are excited to get new members, to welcome you into the fold, into the community, and love you and hold you up and watch you shine. So many people have worked so hard to create these spaces, so honor them, and more importantly, honor yourself by joining these cultural orgs. And by joining, I really just mean give it a shot. Go to that first meeting, that first event, see how it goes, see if it feels good or feels right. And also, when I say join as soon as you can, I mean as soon as you can. And that might not be your first semester of freshman year. You might not be ready to engage with your community. I know, for example, at Access, we are very aware of the fact that disability identity takes time, and people are not always ready the first second they get to college. So do what feels right for you, take your time, but please do not be afraid to take up space and to find your space within Emerson. And if you can't find your space at Emerson, create it. Please, I am begging of you, find your space, create your space, take up space, even if you have to forge the space with your bare hands. Every time someone does that, Emerson and the world at large becomes a better, more interesting, more just place. And here's the other thing, if you're sitting here thinking, okay, well, I don't really have a marginalized identity and I don't really feel like I need to connect with these kinds of orgs in the way that you're talking about, that's okay. Go to them anyways. A lot of these organizations hold space for allies and people working towards allyship. If they're creating that space for you, honor it. Come to the meetings and the events, be a fly on the wall, don't center yourself, listen, learn, support their work. Our Emerson community is only as strong as each individual member. And so whether that means connecting with your own identity through cultural orgs or learning about other people's, or most likely both, please get out there and do it. Tip number 5, don't be afraid of change. So I've already mentioned this a little bit, but college is a big time for change, or as I would rather call it, growth and evolution. But I'm serious, I truly believe that if you're leaving college the same way you were when you started, you've done something wrong. Everyone's gonna have a different evolution and different journey in college, but I truly believe that the best college experiences are the ones where you embrace change and take life where it leads you. And I say this as someone who was dead set on never changing. I came to Emerson as a creative writing major. I had wanted to be a creative writing BFA major since 7th grade, and I was never gonna change my major. I was not gonna be that person. I knew the stats about how most people change their major, but I was gonna keep mine. I changed my major. It's what you do. It's just how college works, you guys, and you should really do your best to embrace it. I know it is hard, but my life got so much better the moment that I learned to love liberal arts and thought about the world in new ways and saw my life going in ways that I never thought it was going to. This is truly another video, but I ended up changing my major from creative writing to an independently designed major called creative writing and disability studies. So it's not like I threw out everything I'd ever loved. I mean, I'm still a writer. I was working on my novel this morning, but I learned about other stuff. I realized that I have this passion for disability justice. I never would have reached the point where I am today with all of this joy and fulfillment if I hadn't taken the time my first 2 years to explore academically and to look within myself and ask, what do I really want? Not what did I want 5 years ago, not what do other people want for me. What do I want for myself? What do I need for myself? What life do I want to craft? And how do I want my education to reflect that? And it might not be changing your major. There are plenty of other things that can evolve and grow and shift in college. Honestly, there was a lot of other stuff in my life, in my identity and how I viewed myself in the world, my friendships. A lot of stuff shifted for me in college. I'm just not gonna get into all of it because some of it's pretty personal. But I'm serious, you guys. Just be open to change, whatever that looks like. Be ready to embrace whatever life throws you and whatever you find when you look deeper. You can be afraid of it, you can be worried, you can be fearful, but step through that fear and say, this is what college is for, this is what I'm here for, and I'm ready for it. Number 6, use your support offices. I don't know why this isn't higher up on the list, besides the fact that now I can sit here and say, I couldn't have done anything that I've talked about in the first 5 pieces of advice on this list without doing this one. I am such a big proponent of using your resources, of using your support services, of connecting with the service offices at this college, getting that student support. I could go on forever. I will try to be succinct. Basically, at Emerson and pretty much any college you're going to go to, there are a number of support offices, student support offices. I don't really even know what the best way to describe them is, but I'm basically talking about things like the counseling center, the health center, even the fitness center, student accessibility services, like I mentioned earlier in the video. Emerson has an office of student success. We have a food pantry. Things like academic advising and the registrar and the cultural center. Like, there are so many offices, so many student affairs professionals, staff members at Emerson that are here to help you get through college. And I have never been more serious when I say use these services. You have every right in the world to use these services and to seek out support. College is full of twists and turns and challenges, and it was not meant to be a solo mission, so there is no shame in building a team of people who can help and support and guide you through this experience. I know it can be really hard to act on that sometimes, and there are a lot of different places that these stigmas about getting help and support come from, but trust me, I have some things you can think about when you're struggling to make that phone call or debating whether you should send that email. So first of all, one of my favorite things is the fact that you've already paid for all these services. For the most part, your tuition covers these offices and services, so you're literally wasting money if you don't use them. Now, I'm not saying like feel bad if you never go to get an STD test at the health center, because you might not just need one, or you might have an outside provider that you want to go to instead. That's totally fine. But just if you are needing one and you're thinking about going to the health center, it's there waiting for you. We pay so much money to go to Emerson College, maybe too much, but that's a different conversation. We do pay a lot of money, so milk everything you can out of those tuition dollars and do it shamelessly. And where does that money go? Well, a lot of places. Again, kind of a different conversation, but in some ways that money is going to the salaries and the benefits of the people who you're seeking help from. Sometimes I just have to tell myself, Harper, this is literally so-and-so's job. They get paid for this. Just send the email, make an appointment, and go do it. But also, y'all, the people who work in student affairs, they don't do it for the money. They do it because they want to help you and support you. This is their life's calling. They want to see students. They want to interact. So in no way, shape, or form are you a burden for asking for an appointment at the Career Center or ECAPS or wherever. What you actually are is someone who's letting them fulfill their life calling and someone who's giving themselves the gift of self-love through support. So please, with all my heart, seek out support, use it. You have, say it with me, every right to it. Number 7, internships. You should do them. Okay, so this is the first thing on this list that I actually haven't done, so I don't have as much to say about it, but I'm speaking from a place of wishing I had done an internship, at least one, during college. It just didn't work out for me to do internships, and that's fine. But I do know that internships are a very, very useful thing, and I have had a lot of friends who have had very positive experiences in their internships. And the things they got out of it: career goal clarity, work experience, office experience, valuable lessons, opportunities, network connections, tricks of the trade, money, class credit. There's so much you can get out of an internship. So use your resources and see if you can't find yourself an internship. Go to the Career Center. That's one of those support offices that you should absolutely connect with. You can talk to your faculty, staff members that you know at Emerson. Go on Facebook and find the Emerson Mafia Facebook group. There's so many places to connect with alumni, with people who are going to help you get internships or even jobs. And I mean, y'all, it's really okay if you don't find an internship. It's not the end of the world, and you will survive college without an internship. Hi, I'm here, I didn't die. There are so many ways that you can get the things that some people get out of internships through other things. For example, I got a lot of career clarity out of my undergraduate research and my leadership positions within student orgs. So I guess the advice is not so much to do internships, but to look for enriching experiences outside of the classroom. And that might be an internship, it might be something completely different from that. Number 8, this finger thing is getting harder the further we go up. Number 8, take advantage of Boston. This is such an Emerson-specific piece of advice, but, well, I say that there's a million colleges in Boston. Boston is an amazing, amazing city, and it is a really great city to go to college in because, like I said, there are so many colleges in the area, and also it's just this beautiful blend of, historic, it's a very old city. There's a lot of really old stuff, you can go see the Paul Revere House and the Freedom Trail, but it's also very new and modern, and you definitely don't feel like you just walked into a time machine. You feel like you're living in the 21st century, but then you're also blended with history. I love Boston so much, so please take advantage of the city while you're in Boston. Here's some of my Boston pictures and best recommendations. You gotta try new foods, visit historical sites, ride every line of the T, hang out in the Common, play in the snow, wander through Chinatown, go to a concert, check out Cambridge, trick-or-treat in Beacon Hill, take pictures everywhere you go, do it with family or friends, do it alone. My biggest rec is actually the Museum of Fine Arts. It's free for Emerson students. Just don't forget that you live in the heart of downtown Boston and you're the special kind of Bostonian who went to school there, so own it and take advantage of the city while you can. Number 9, push yourself out of your comfort zone when it makes sense. People always say to push yourself out of your comfort zone, and they say that for a reason. There is so much out there to learn and experience and take advantage of, and if you always just stay in your safe little bubble and never take risks or try new things, you're never going to learn and grow and explore and have amazing experiences that you never would have imagined you could ever have. It's connected to being open to change, but it's also about acknowledging the fact that you are more capable and more powerful than you know. So yeah, take that student government position when the SAS person you've been working with for years recommends you for it. Sign up for that 300 level psychology class when, even though you have the prerequisites, you've never actually taken a psychology class before. These are real examples, by the way, things I did that pushed me out of my comfort zone but paid off in spades, even though there were huge challenges along the way. You grow when you come up against mountains to scale, so push yourself and find those opportunities. But also know that pushing yourself isn't always the best or safest thing for you. I mean, they're called comfort zones for a reason, it's in the name. I didn't need to push myself to go to concerts or parties or try new foods or take 4 really, really academically challenging classes all at once when I knew those things were gonna hurt me. They were gonna give me panic attacks and anxiety attacks. They were gonna make me feel uncomfortable. They were gonna put my safety and well-being at risk. Hear me when I say that there are some mountains you do not need to scale. Don't stay involved in that racist organization just because you feel like you have to have a good resume. Please resign from that leadership position when it gets to be too much. Withdraw from that class that is just eating at your soul because you're failing and you don't like the professor and it's early in the morning and you don't know what you're doing. So bottom line, trust yourself. Know what makes sense for you, who you are, what you like, what doesn't work for you, and what does. No one knows you better than yourself. And this brings me to my final piece of advice. Number 10, do Emerson your way. This is your college experience. This is your life. There is no checklist to check off, no prescribed way of doing this. So whatever you do, don't force yourself to do things you don't want to do, to be someone you're not, or to put up with things that you know you shouldn't tolerate. Stand up for yourself and do this your way. There is no one perfect way of doing this, no perfect 2 ways or 3 ways or 10 ways. There are as many perfect ways to have an Emerson experience as there are Emersonians. Like I said, you know yourself better than anyone. Don't be afraid to ask for help and reach out for support from staff, faculty, professors, friends, family, whoever, but know that you call the shots at the end of the day. And I know that can be really overwhelming and scary that, it's all on you now, but at the same time, it's also really empowering and freeing. For the first time, maybe ever, you are truly in control and have the power to call the shots and make this life yours the way you want to live it. So yeah, maybe you should ignore all the advice I just gave. That is totally okay. Don't let anyone tell you that you are doing it wrong, because as long as you are following your heart and finding your way to happiness and not hurting anyone in the process, you're not doing it wrong. And let me reiterate that last little bit. As long as you're not hurting anyone in the process. If there is one thing that every Emersonian needs to do, dare I say has to do, is be kind. We owe it to each other. The world becomes a better place when we work to bring ourselves happiness and joy, but also to do that in a way that brings other people happiness and joy and space to succeed and thrive. So yeah, do the work to fulfill your passions and do this your way, but in doing that, work to be the best version of yourself, and I guarantee you that version of yourself is a kind person, is someone who is anti-oppressive, someone who works to not just make themselves feel good, but everyone around them feel good in some way, shape, or form. Exhibit kindness through your individuality and uniqueness, and you will find it in other people, and honestly, that will bring you back joy just the same. When we all work together to be the best versions of ourselves, the world is better. So do that work and please be yourself in it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you got something out of this and enjoyed hearing my tips for Emersonians. Even if you didn't, I certainly had a good time thinking back through my college experience, trying to figure out what I learned and what I'm frankly taking with me into the next stage of life. Because yeah, these are things about college, but there's a lot of principles in here that I think can be helpful in life no matter what step of the journey you're on. So again, thank you so much. If you want to subscribe to my channel, you're more than welcome to. I am hoping to create more content on YouTube, so please, like I said, subscribe if you are interested. Again, my name is Harper McKenzie. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, and if you are a future Emersonian, best of luck in your Emerson experience. I'm sending you all the good vibes and hoping that your 4 years at Emerson was as wonderful as mine.